Sit back and relax and enjoy the show with Big OG. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.
I don't have the tinfoil hat on just yet, Congressman, but I'm wondering, kind of how you react to that, because you are connected. You're on the UFO subcommittee. I mean, I'm just wondering what you make of that. Have you heard anything like that?
Well, I'm still a member of Congress, so I can't really comment too much on what Matt said. But I will say this.
Wait, seriously? Are you being serious, or is that tongue in cheek?
I'm being 100% serious. Okay. I've been 100% serious. I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is. And I'll just tell you this. If they would release the things that I've seen, you would stay up. You'd be up at night worrying about or thinking about this stuff. We just need to disclose it all. I'm sick of it. Well, I was briefed. I'll just tell you this. I was briefed last week on an issue, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago. And it would have set the earth on. This country would have come unglued, I think, if they would have heard all that I heard. They would demand answers, and we need to. But it's never going to get. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting covered up, and the people that know are dying or disappearing, as the case may be.
Wow.
And for the record, I'm not suicidal, and I don't take risks. So,
I'm glad you said that. I'm speechless, Congressman. We will have you back.
You should be. And I told the president, release it all. And the problem is the people that are around the president don't know and the president doesn't know the questions to ask. A few of us are going to have to get with the president and tell him what he needs to ask and where he needs to look. I mean, we're in meetings and they give addresses and tell locations of items, I'll just say. And the public has a right to know, dadgummit. It's your tax dollars.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out there.
You got my attention, Congressman. I appreciate you being as forthcoming as you have been tonight. And we look forward to having you back. Look, I know Donald Trump wants to disclose something. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he wants to be the president to do that. Tim Burchett, thank you.
He does.
So, yeah, you heard that. And I want to talk about this a little bit because I find this quite interesting that we allegedly have aliens right here amongst us. And some of them are breeding with humans. And I want to play the clip that Tim Burchett, which, a big shout out to Tim Burchett. If you don't know who Tim Burchett is, really like Tim Burchett. Really like Tim Burchett. I think he should be Speaker of the House personally, but that's just my humble opinion. I want to get into the actual clip that he was speaking about from Matt Gaetz and what Matt Gaetz had to say, because I also find it quite interesting. Check it out.
I think the most important information will be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating? What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
Yeah, I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations at one time. And so that never occurred.
What do you mean non-human biologics? Like this?
Well, that was the testimony of David Grush, before the House Oversight Committee, which I joined, and the testimony was that in crashes of craft that had been recovered by the CIA and through a special program that the CIA had for crash recovery, that it wasn't just the hard materials, it was also biologics, but that they couldn't identify a human source of those biologics.
Crazy stuff. You know what else is crazy? There's a bunch of scientists who have been allegedly involved in all of this that have all of a sudden gone missing. Not one, not even two, not even three. 9 scientists that have been involved in some way, shape, or form with all of this have just randomly gone missing. Yeah, not even kidding. Not even kidding. I'm gonna throw this up on the screen because this is wild stuff, guys. This is crazy. Crazy stuff. List of dead or missing scientists suspicious as 9th case is raised. July 4th, a researcher who died in Los Angeles. No cause of death disclosed. A former Los Alamos National Laboratory employee who vanished. 2025. NASA scientist who went missing during a hike. Assistant who disappeared from her residence. Her mobile device had been wiped. What is up with that? A researcher who went missing, prompting a search that ended when his body was recovered from a lake. Plasma science infusion was fatally attacked at his home. Who was shot on his porch during an early morning, just randomly shot, Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Just randomly shooting a scientist on his porch. Retired Air Force general who left his New Mexico home and has not been seen since. That's the latest one. Left his home and just hasn't been seen since. Just vanished into thin air. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. People who have been involved in this in some way, shape, or fashion just either dying or going missing. Wild. And I know what some of you are going to say, but I also want to play this clip here from Congresswoman Luna. Check it out.
Being a member of oversight, we follow up with whistleblowers, and we also can conduct our own investigations. So myself, Representative Burchett from Tennessee, and Representative Gates were on a small codel to the Panhandle because a whistleblower came forward from Eglin Air Force Base pilots to Representative Gates' office saying that the Air Force was essentially covering up UAP activity and we needed to look into it. So we coordinated the meeting. Pentagon tried to initially cancel the first one. We got it back on the books. We show up there and we get in, and the base commander tried to basically tell us that we didn't have authorized clearance to look into and speak to some of the witnesses, of which you don't tell Congress that we don't have the authorized clearance, especially members of House Armed Services, Oversight, and Judiciary. So I kind of had it out with the base commander, which is kind of funny because this guy really thought that he had it going on. And he actually, in the middle of our meeting, he took off on leave, which never happens with a delegation going to military base. But then also, too, we had pretty sure people from the agency that were there as well. And so you really don't find that. I've worked at Hurlburt Field. I worked in the military for a number of years. And so why would a intelligence agency need to be there on a meeting for whistleblowers? So that happened. I can tell you, based on my investigations, not in a classified setting, that I absolutely believe that there is things that are advanced technologies not of human origin. And then we conducted the interview with David Grush. As you saw, it was one of the most widely attended congressional hearings in U.S. history. The information that was brought forward was particularly alarming because you're hearing about people that have potentially been murdered and covering up this information, and it was very interesting. So I advise everyone to watch it.
Yeah, was it
crazy, right? Crazy, crazy stuff. And then when you consider, and maybe I'll do a deep dive on this, because obviously you can make an entire video on this topic of discussion. But if you want to talk about the Bible, right, and go that route, when you want to talk about the angels and, mating with the, humans and creating the Nephilim and the flood and why it was 40 days because these giant Nephilim had to be drowned and that whole sort of thing, we can really get into the weeds with some stuff. And when you think about that and how the pyramids were made allegedly because of the knowledge that the angels had, and that's how that was all put together, and the Nephilim it gets pretty deep, especially when you start thinking about stuff like this and you're like, are those some of the angels that fell? Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments. What do you guys think in the comments? What exactly is it? And just what are your thoughts? I'm having a hard time putting my words together, as you guys can see, because this is just it's crazy stuff. It's not something that you think about on a daily basis, and then bam, you're hit with all of this information, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And why are you guys trying to be so secretive about it? Why did these scientists go missing all of a sudden? Is it because of some technology that they possibly could have garnered? And I mean, when you think about, right, some of the alleged technology that these aliens, right, I put that in air quotations because who knows, right? These aliens, the type of technology that they allegedly have would probably make the oil industry go underwater. As a matter of fact, speaking of underwater, here's a clip of Tim Burchett describing...
You received intelligence that suggests that there are perhaps deep water alien bases right now sitting on the ocean floor on this planet. Is that accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Can you go into more detail? How long have they been here? Where are they?
Well, I'm extrapolating all this with my East Tennessee vernacular. So we've got five or six deep water areas of our oceans, and these are areas where we have a high frequency of UFO or UAP sightings. We've had naval folks have told me pretty high up that they've actually tracked these things. We've tracked things big as a football field going 200 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour, something the size of a football field. And we don't know what it is. And these are in these areas. So yeah, there's something going on there. And whether it's something that's been here for millennial or whatever, I always remember the last thing this one high-ranking official told me as he left my office. He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now. And he said, Tim, they're real.
What if these are entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth, that who knows how long, and that we...
Why can't I pause this? What's going on?
We think they're...
What in the world? Sorry about that, guys. Had a little malfunction there. I literally could not pause that video. That was weird. I was sitting there like clicking it. I don't know if the mic picked that up. I'm sitting there like trying to click the video and it's like not pausing. I'm like, what is going on? So when you think about that, you have things the size of a football field traveling through water at 200 miles an hour. How? And what in the world would need something the size of a football field in order to travel in? Maybe giant individuals. Who would have been a giant individual? Nephilim. Why would they be underwater? Maybe because they adapted to it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I really don't know. You know, you had a flood that was meant to take them out. Maybe they adapted, and so now they live underwater because they can easily hide there. The oceans are super deep. They can easily hide their craft. I mean, the craft are the size of football fields. I don't know. I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.